and then lastly would be the Roman kingdom, and all these things were prophesied hundreds of years before and verified historically. So the Bible is a dynamic account. It's not just, again, spiritual platitudes. And I think you're taking it only the latter, but it's multidimensional. And I think you have a superficial way of looking at it. I think that could be the problem.
I don't think
But yeah,
anybody would question that there's historical stuff in the Bible. I don't think anybody would dispute that. I
but yeah,
think that,
I know that the Bible does mention like some battles that happen. I forget what verses. I do know that there is historical evidence for some of these battles, but some other things in the Bible, though, as far as I know, scholars agree like that in Exodus. Now, this is just me stating, you know, uh, things like to the best of my knowledge. According to my understanding, the scholars agree that, like that, the Exodus never happened.
yeah.
So, and so there, there are some things in the Bible like that are historical, but as far as I know, there also are things in the Bible that aren't. Like I believe even the Jonah and the whale, scientists have actually shown it like that there's no scientific way as to how to survive inside of the stomach of a whale for that
Well,
long.
no, it's a fish. It says a great
A
fish,
great
but
fish, yeah,
that's,
it
I mean, that's
does.
besides the point. Yeah.
Yeah, it
But
kind of is irrelevant either
a
way.
whale, well, then that's scientifically wrong because a whale is not a fish. A whale is a mammal.
Well, it doesn't
But I
say
mean, the
whale.
Bible, right? The Bible doesn't use the word whale. That's
Yeah.
people's interpretation of the word. Yeah.
But it's still
Okay,
still
then what
unlikely
word
that
does
someone
it use then?
survived for years and like ages in a fish belly as well. It's just as unlikely scientifically. I mean,
No, yeah, that's a false. That's like saying the word of computer isn't in the Bible, so we should be mad at it. That word didn't exist till 1800 years later. But bro, the whole time, Eric, you're saying that you're looking for information from man. This whole time, that's all I'm hearing from you.
Hey, last year there
And
was a guy
so,
that was swallowed by a
are you
whale
meaning to tell me that there's something wrong, like with consulting
and
with
survived.
experts on something? You know, uh, when it goes to a dentist, obviously a
Oh
dentist
man, well,
knows
how?
what they're talking about, and and a dentist is a man. A dentist is gonna tell you what you should do to take care of your teeth.
Yes, that's a skill. That's not knowledge of wisdom of the Lord that created the heavens and the earth. That is a skill. Yeah.
well, I think
I
they
mean,
need
that's
But
knowledge
completely
of
different. That's not
teeth
even comparison.
to
Yeah.
be able to treat them. They
but I think I'm
definitely do
missing
need
the
knowledge.
point though. Is because when you consult an expert on something, it it is a person, and so if you're going to tell me that I shouldn't consult with man on something that they're an expert on, well, then I guess
Well,
by
that's the
that
problem.
logic, then
Well,
like I
the
should be
Bible
in that
says so.
class then.
The Bible has a direction, though. It says, "Thus saith the Lord, cursed is the man who trusteth in man." So when we turn to the Bible first, you're going to see a completely different set of explanations. That's why the beginning of wisdom is fear of the Lord, not going to man. I mean, I asked for information from man my whole life too, and I didn't get any answers, man. So I don't know. You're telling me you were a Christian how long? You said you were a Christian for
Okay.
what, 20 years?
Say what? Sorry.
You said you were a Christian for what, something like, well, you look like you're in your 30s, right? So over 20 years, right?
Uh, I actually am 29, and I'm going to be turning 30 in December. I was a
Yeah.
Christian from when I was a little boy, and then I drifted away from it late elementary school. Then I came back to it the year after I
Nice,
graduated high school,
Is
I
that
wanted to meet Sal.
and
That's a
then
shame.
is that
and then I
Seth in
came
the
back
middle?
to Christianity
Excuse me, real quick
2014.
question.
So
Is
yeah,
that
so
is that
yeah.
Seth in the middle there, the XO? I was just asking real quick.
Asking
Or is
what?
that
Sorry.
somebody else?
Sat in the middle.
That's somebody else. Okay. I thought it was Seth from Ohio, but I didn't know. I couldn't
So,
tell. Real.
so I think what Eric's talking about is standards of methodology, how you arrive at knowledge, like how you actually get there. Um,
Yeah,
there's,
and
v-
no,
v-
and
yeah, I just want to sort of say that I do agree that it seems like the best methodology is science. If there's a better methodology, somebody hasn't been able to demonstrate it. I'm not saying there's no other methodology you can use, but it doesn't. Nobody has seemed to show any other methodology that produces reliable results like it does, or at least that's what I believe.
But it's ultimately self-refuting, though,
Why is that?
Mark. So, are you going to use science to determine if science is the scientific method to demonstrate the scientific method? So you need something beyond the scientific method to justify it.
No, we
Yeah,
use
first
the
of all, we know
scientific
that there's
method
no
to
science
produce
involved in
results
as far
in the
as-
real world. Like, you can't just sort of apply another methodology and figure out how to fly.
Right,
for
but you
instance.
haven't done it yet, though. But that's like saying you saw
What?
it on TV. You haven't done it yourself. So really quick, Eric, you said you were a Christian for over a long period of time. You're saying that whole time you never saw one miracle. Is that what you're telling me?
Okay, well, during that entire time, there were all these situations and like that I thought were miracles. So, but now with my crisis of faith, I then question whether or not if those actually were miracles or not.
Oh, okay. Did you ask man to help you out on that one also?
Not at that time. It was because at that time, I was a devout Christian. So what's your point?
I'm not sure
You
what you
go
mean
from,
by ask man.
But yeah,
Do you mean like you sort of
okay, so-
implement some kind of reasonable methodology for determining the truth, or are you talking about you actually talk to somebody kind of thing? I'm not sure.
Hey,
what you
real
mean
quick,
by
I
that.
know I just jumped in here about 10 minutes ago, but I was looking to see if Yuri and the dude was coming in here because I thought they were. But is this who's a Christian in here and who's an atheist or whatever? I mean, can you give me just like a
Me.
who's who?
I'm an atheist. I really wanted to talk
you're an
about
atheist.
sort of what
Okay, what
Trey
about
said
you,
about
Eric? Eric,
sort
are
of
you
atheism.
I was a Christian for pretty much my entire life. And then, I started doubting my faith. And then, starting a month ago, I started to say, you know what? I don't think I'm a Christian anymore. I think I'm an atheist. Now,
Okay, so you think you're an atheist. Who else is an atheist?
Mark.
I
I'm
am.
a
Who's
young
that? The guy in the
Me.
middle?
No, I'm the one with the cam down the bottom.
Oh, there's only two atheists, right, in the panel?
I don't see how this guy can go from believing in the young Earth, to believing in this evolution 4 billion-year-old thing that they teach us in kindergarten.
Evolution is just taught in kindergarten.
Taught in
I actually
universities
have
too.
taken courses in college,
Yeah.
like where they taught evolution. So that's not true. And so,
So did you believe evolution the whole time then, Eric?
Not the entire time, because I also did say I used to be a young Earth creationist. So,
Right, but near the end though. So how long do you think before the end? Maybe a couple years, 4 years? How much? How long of a time?
I was a theistic evolutionist from 2018 till this year, but I know that there probably will be some people who say, "Oh, well, evolution was the reason why you lost your faith." But no, evolution was not the reason
you're right. I
whatsoever
agree.
why I lost my faith.
You're
Not
right.
at all.
I admit that. You are right about that. There's no one issue as far as what we find in the world, Eric. The salvation issue is in the mirror. It's the pride of life. It's that lust. It's that, you know what? Is this really true, or can I get away with maybe this sort of thing? And there's a lot of pressure on us, man. Trust me. Like Praise earlier said, this is a spiritual warfare, bro. And I'm telling you that men is literally the master of corruption. That's why all this stuff that you think is science, Eric, it's actually not science. At all.
He's not
They haven't
thinking
showed
with
you any
spirit.
science.
Sorry,
Right,
what is
right.
that?
I'm just gonna say this real quick, and I'll let somebody else. There's a lot of people here. I'm sorry, just real quick. Here's the deal, Eric. All that stuff that they tell you is science. I know, real quick. I promise I'll be really quick. Just trust me. I talk very fast. It's okay, man. Thanks. So real quick, Eric, what you think is science isn't science. They're lying to us. I used to work for the government. I know how they think, and your television comes from the government indoctrination system, and it's designed to literally tell you what to think, and that's where we get these impressions. Then you go on to college, and they mesmerize you with big words like ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny, and you still never knew what it meant, but you got an A on the test, so you feel proud. There's no science behind any of it. It's just literal pomp and circumstance and brainwashing, and some of us fell for it, bro, but there is no science. Actually, all the science supports the Bible. Yes, there are titles out there like Young Earth Creationist that might not be accurate, but the Bible clearly says something that's not, millions of magical years old, because some guy that you don't even know named that 150 years ago, and you couldn't even tell me why they named the ages of Earth. because they admit that they're all presuppositional religious beliefs, Eric. So all these things that you're talking about that are science, not only are they not science, they admit they're not science. You just have to look a little deeper. Trust me. So there's another page here you got to flip.
Wow, I
And
should
then
have
it's
brought
not
my
science,
tinfoil
okay,
hat. Wow, that's insane. Science is the
who are
kind of
these
stuff
scientists
that
who have
you...
said that
well, just a
is
sec,
not
just a
science?
sec. I'd like to respond to that. So
Yeah,
everything...
you better believe it.
Science
I said it,
is
yeah.
a methodology, right? It's just methodological naturalism, which is just a sort of way we can investigate naturally into the
Okay,
world
that I
around
agree
us.
with. It is. You know what?
Yeah,
I agree
no,
with that. I'll
so-
take that. Okay, good.
So
what's the
it's
first step? What's the first step
it's
to the scientific
responsible for
method, then?
almost every piece of technology
Right.
that
So
we
what's
have
so
today.
good?
I
You're
mean,
making a claim. So what's the first
the
step?
ironic
What's
part
the
is
first
that
step to
you're
the scientific
sitting on
method?
a computer
Wow, do you guys,
created by
can you guys like
science.
talk one at a time so we
And-
can hear each other, or no?
I mean, I
Okay,
started
this is just a
talking,
rant.
and
This
then
is just
this
a
guy
religious
goes
rant, though,
just
sir.
talked
I know,
over the
Mark.
top
Do you
of
know the
me.
first step of the scientific
Yeah,
method?
the more you
think-
two talk together, you know, it's just
Well,
that we can't even hear each other.
Why can't I
Yeah,
talk?
why
Why
don't
aren't I
you-
allowed to talk?
Yeah.
I mean, I
understand
just
what-
started
It's just
talking,
a
and then
rant
someone
right now.
just
You're
talked
just
right over the
ranting,
top of
though.
me.
Yes.
Yeah, you
I
guys
have-
just constantly, you guys are constantly talking over each other. Can you not do that so we can hear what the hell you're saying?
Well, can I say
Right.
finish what I was saying,
who
or?
was the next person that was the
Well,
last person that
I
was talking?
started, and then someone jumped in over the top of me. So if I could just finish what I'm saying, I'm almost done. Okay, I'm sorry, I'm
Okay,
almost
finish
done.
what you're saying.
Okay, so methodological naturalism is responsible for all the technology we have, and what's ironic is you're sitting on a computer invented by science over the internet, which was invented by science, probably using Wi-Fi, which is invented in Australia by the Commonwealth Scientific Institute, and then you're saying that science isn't something, that it's some sort of conspiracy. I don't understand.
Nope, that's a lie. Now you're just slandering. You're going insane, man. I said
But
there's
that's
no
what you
science
said.
in evolution.
Said
Hold
that
on,
It's a
hold on.
conspiracy from the government.
Yeah.
See, it's just another. You're just
That's
having a
what I
seizure,
heard.
man.
Oh, sorry, that's
so
what
here's
I
the deal.
heard.
Do you know the first
I am
step to the
pointing out
scientific
what you
method?
said.
Right.
Observation.
You know the first step.
Observation.
Just okay.
Go ahead.
I'll just wait. But you're just doing a rant right now. Do you want me to? I'll just
Yeah,
wait.
you asked a question. Observation is the first step.
Okay.
What is the naturally observed phenomena of evolution?
Genetics, phylogeny, physiology, variation within species. There's a lot of
Fossil
observations.
record as well.
That's not a naturally observed phenomena. You don't have a naturally observed phenomena
Sure it is.
for evolution. That's the point.
Yeah.
And, all of that requires an already existing system. That's an already existing working system. You don't have a naturally observed phenomena. That's my claim. I'm claiming that the systems already work. Everything was made perfect from the beginning. You don't have another choice. There's no naturally observed phenomena.
Yeah, variation in species naturally observed. It's what Darwin
There's no
first
such thing.
observed
You don't
on
have
the
an. There's
Galapagos
no such
Island
thing.
when
Cats
he-
stay cats.
Could I finish?
You're
That's
just
what
ranting.
Darwin.
It's a religion. That's my
That's
point.
what
So, Eric, it's a
Darwin
religion.
originally
Thanks.
saw when he went to the Galapagos Island. So that
That's
was
the Kent Hovind talking point.
what's that?
Yeah, okay. I believe the exo said cats remain cats. Well, after taking all these science courses, doing the research myself,
Yeah.
young Earth creationists I've noticed like to make this straw man argument saying, "Oh well."
Oh, I'm not a
no
young Earth
climate
creationist.
change
That's
turns
another
green,
slander. I'm not a young Earth creationist.
and
Please
wolf
stop
dogs
slandering
remain
me.
dogs.
Please
Well,
stop
of
slandering me.
course,
Thanks.
dogs remain dogs. No scientist has ever said that a dog one day is gonna just is gonna evolve into a non-dog.
Sorry,
That's
Eric.
not
In
how
fairness, he
evolution
didn't
works.
say that. In fairness, he
Once
didn't actually
you're
say that.
eukaryote, you're always a eukaryote.
Welcome back, Praise.
So
Yeah, there's no claim here. You're just regurgitating what they tell you. There's no claim here. You don't understand what science is. There's no science to evolution. They admit this. So there's no. Plus, you're calling names again. You guys got to stop calling names. I know this is your religion.
what
and
names?
You're getting very emotional, but no need to
Okay,
call names. It's
it's
okay.
not
Just
a
What
relax.
names? I'm really confused. What names?
Yeah, I know, Eric. Nobody
There are
said I was a young Earth
practices
creationist. You
and
can please
dogma,
stop it. That's all, guys.
allowance,
You just gotta
science.
relax.
We just follow evidence. We have no beliefs.
You don't even have a claim for evidence. Could you please show me some? We've been waiting for years for
Well,
evolution.
obviously
We have
you
nothing to
believe
debate.
in
There's
God.
nothing there.
So you say
You're just
you
going to
have
start
no
naming off
Well,
allele
you
frequencies.
mentioned
Yeah,
some
there's no
evidence.
evidence. Yeah.
Well, do you want the
The
best evidence?
fossil records, with
Fossil record?
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You're just going to,
Archaeopteryx
just
and
continue to rant. That's much
homology
better. Just keep
and
doing that.
embryology. And one of the pieces of evidence for evolution.
Yeah, words.
My favorite example, is with bird and dinosaur evolution. So,
Bird and dinosaur.
Because you saw the cartoon?
Well,
Yeah, you
it's
saw the cartoon.
actually
I saw
a,
it too. In
No.
1989,
I was
Christopher
not
Reeve
because I
showed
saw
me
the
that cartoon as well, Eric.
yeah, it's Archaeopteryx.
It's not
It's
because I saw the
Archaeopteryx.
cartoon, It's because I
Cool story,
looked into
bro.
the
Saw it on
scientific
TV.
studies
It's a
for
bird
it.
with teeth.
One of the pieces of evidence like if you look into the embryos
Bird dinosaur.
of the bird, you actually can see all of their dinosaur traits, like the unfused wing, the unfused fingers, the long bony tail and the snout with teeth.
Wow.
That is
Yeah.
evidence
Okay.
of
Yes.
evolution.
Don't all animals have similarities? Yeah. Dogs also have long, bony tails. They have a dog tail that's bony too. Yeah. That's impressive. It's just similarities of creation. Yeah.
Why wouldn't
There's no
God
such
make
thing of hereditary
mosaic?
relation.
Well,
yeah.
the
Go ahead,
thing
please.
is that
But yeah,
Yeah.
sorry, go ahead.
you're
My
already-
bad.
Oh, they're similar.
I just want to respond to Eric really quick. So why wouldn't God make mosaics? Like you could have part terrestrial, part aquatic. I mean, like there's we even see military vehicles today that could go on land and in the water. Like, I mean, it's so what? You can't use like Archaeopteryx like, oh wow, that proves evolution. I'm sorry, that just doesn't.
But it does
Well,
actually.
it's a testable prediction.
Yeah.
They predicted that they would find a
Oh,
dinosaur
stop it.
with
Stop
exactly
with the
these
lies.
traits.
You're just listen, guys.
No,
you're
no,
just
no, I'm
making
not.
stuff up.
Thomas,
They
There's no
predicted
claim
it.
here.
No,
Listen, if we
this
found
is
right, and if
documented.
archaeobject was found in an older layer, you change your every time we show you something,
No.
you change your story.
And the
your
other one is
goalpost moves,
tectonic.
and then your goalpost completely moves off the field because evolutionists don't have a goalpost. If we find something in the wrong area, you're just, oh well, that's actually because this excuse, insert Precambrian, blah blah blah. It's a
If you
normal
wanna
just
believe
excuse. It's
that,
just a
sure.
religious belief. You want to believe it. We all have the
No,
same evidence. We
it's
find
not
dead
that
things as
we
well.
don't
There's no
want to
evidence for
believe it.
evolution. That's why you're just going down this lie of mantra. This is your new religious speech. All those years you could have been researching the Bible, and instead you research
I
the
did.
laws of
Why would I
insanity.
research the
These are the
Bible?
lies
No,
of
I
men,
looked
bro.
into
There's
the
no
Bible.
evidence behind it. That's why you're not mentioning it. You're just going to keep rambling. It's just like chanting. You're just chanting your religion. There's no evidence. Sorry.
Well, I think the best evidence from my viewpoint is probably endogenous retroviruses, which are very difficult to explain under a creation standpoint. I think you have to believe that a one in a fantastical number occurred for these retroviruses to be inserted in exactly the same place between, say, chimps and humans. It's 1 in millions for them to be inserted in the same place, and somehow it happened 205 times. And if you take into account they're exactly the same fossil remnants or artifact remnants of the same viruses, the chances of that happening is so high that you would have a better chance of finding a specific grain on the sand of a beach by picking one up. It's
But Bart, don't you say they're
impossible.
non-functional though? Like they're just junk? I mean, that's been disproven a long time ago.
They can be, and what can happen is because mutation can happen anywhere along the genome, including the retrovirus DNA material that's been transposed in, it can change the viral sequence into something innocuous that does nothing, or it can change it to something beneficial, because mutation doesn't really care where it happens on the genome, it just happens kind of randomly. Like transposition can switch 2 elements and it sort of happens randomly.
Okay, and there was one thing that the XO claimed, like how dogs have long tails, but that's just one very vague similarity that they have. I mean, they don't have like the same amount of vertebrae, in the tail. Yeah, they long bony tails. Yeah, sure, but that's a very vague similarity. Like while then, that is just completely ignoring, all the other differences, and like that dogs have, like with dinosaurs, dogs are mammals, while when dinosaurs aren't. Obviously dinosaurs weren't mammals because, mammals have fur, and, dinosaurs, being reptiles.
Mammals suckle at the breast of the parent. That's what makes a mammal a
And
mammal.
also, with these similarities between birds and dinosaurs, that's actually something like that we would expect to see if
Correct.
that's something that what we would expect to see if evolution is true, because we find those similarities, that is why that we infer, as to why birds are dinosaurs, and birds also meet the anatomical criteria to be a dinosaur. To be a dinosaur, you have to have an open acetabulum, you have to have a sacrum, and birds have all of that. So
You're really low, Yo-Yo. You're really low.
Yeah, sound low to me. Yeah.
I can't hear a word you're saying. It's kind
Just
of like that part in
increase your gain a little.
the Peanuts, you
Let me
know?
try
that-
fix my
whoa,
mic.
whoa, whoa, whoa.
Okay.
Okay. So
just
until you fix your mic, let me just say something really quick.
Yeah,
I'm going
sure.
to make a philosophical point you guys can respond to. So when it comes to science, it's provisional, it's tentative. It cannot make any truth claims. You cannot derive truth or even the word evidence presupposes truth or some type of validity to it. So you can't use science to prove science because science is inductive, not really deductive or abductive. So I just maybe make that point, like you guys can't hang on science to derive truth because it has to be interpreted and extrapolated for people to get that. So I just wanted to put that out there.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
it is
well-
inductive, but I think that you can derive truth. I mean, we can work out through science that the Earth is round, and I would consider that a truth. I think you can ascertain knowledge, which is things that are sort of, valid true belief or a justified true belief. So I don't see why you can't find truth through that. And science is tentative, and that's one of the strengths of science. That isn't a disadvantage of it. I
It's
don't
just
know.
observing. That's what science is. They've just been observing for thousands of years.
Well, and it's
But
also
they cannot recreate creation what was created. You cannot recreate what was created. That's the
okay.
problem.
I'll take your word for that. The whole process is observation, testing, peer review. There's a whole process behind it, and that's sort of what makes the modern sort of science of methodological naturalism. But what I'd like to say to praise is, do you have any method that produces better results that we see every day than the scientific method?
So, firstly, that I would say that scientists are using the laws of logic that they govern all logical truth. So it's not that scientists, arbitrarily declare these as truths. They're actually using the laws of logic. So
Sure.
that is the answer to your question, the laws of logic. And I would say the laws of logic are not dependent on any naturalistic force or framework. I would say that it relies on the mind of God. So there you go.
Well, actually, induction is practical application of the laws of logic. So once you have the laws of logic, you can reinforce induction with that. So you've sort of just reiterated that, hey, at a base, we're using the laws of logic. But if I want to, say, cross the road or figure out what spectrum light is on, there doesn't seem to be... I mean, you can try and use the laws of logic for that, but you're going to have to apply inductive reasoning somewhere.
To make it a true statement, though, it would have to be propositional. And if it's propositional, it would still assume the laws of logic. It would A or not A.
Presuppose them, yes.
The three laws.
Yeah, I agree. You have to presuppose the laws of logic. The problem is that if we don't presuppose the laws of logic or validate them in some way, you can't do anything. I mean, how do you... Just say you have the law of identity, A equals A, perfect example. How do you function if you don't at least acknowledge that that is true from the outset?
I agree. I agree. Like that's what I'm trying to demonstrate.
Right.
That science itself, it makes formulations, tests, experiments, but the extrapolation, the interpretation of that to make it a true statement would have to use the laws of logic, which I would say atheists cannot account for.
Well, we don't have to. That's what a presupposition is for. It's to say, hey, this is true. We may not know why it's true, but that's what a presupposition is. If you want to reject that presupposition, well, that's fine. That's on you. But if we presuppose that, we can then start to, have a conversation between us about what's the best way to go about it. And you kind of validate those laws of logic, because every time you're saying I or you or scientists, you're actually invoking that law of identity, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I don't make any definitive statement. As an atheist, I say I don't know where the laws of logic come from. Because of sort of I'm not sure if anyone's sort of into hard solipsism.
Can I do
I
a really
can't.
quick science experience with you since you've been talking all the time?
Yeah,
What
yeah,
if I
sure.
put
Sorry,
you-
my apologies.
If I
Go for
put
it.
you, if I put you in the box, an empty box, and I tell you create your own food, let's see how long you'll live.
Yeah, I'll die. What's your point? Well, unless I eat the box. Did you
So,
think
so
about that one?
how is your logic or science? How is it going to help you? Without God's creation, you're nobody.
Well, I
and
could-
nothing. You
I
will
could
go
eat-
back. You will go back to the waste that you came from.
No, I said I ate
Period.
the box.
You will go back to the earth that you came
Uh-huh.
from. That's where you're going to go.
So if I lock you in a box without any food,
Your flesh will
What do you
deteriorate
do?
in that box, and you will be completely dead.
okay. And so
You
if
understand? So how is science irrelevant?
if I lock you in a box with no food, what do you do?
Yeah, so that's exactly right. So science without God's creation, without God's material on this planet, can do nothing.
So if I get locked in a box without any food, I'm going to die. And if you get locked in a box without food, you're going to die, or is there some other thing that you can do?
Well, my flesh will die, but my soul will go to heaven.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I don't know that's true, but it seems like we're ending up at
The only
the
way to
same
find out is
place.
to stop eating, okay?
Well, I'm not going to stop eating because you say so, but I'll take it under advisement, I guess. Look, can I talk to you, Praise, about why you think atheists are there to somehow attack you, or sort of what I got, and I do apologise if I'm misrepresenting you, was that we're trying to drag you down sort of with us kind of thing. I'm wondering where that's coming from, because I don't feel like I'm in a war or attacking people in any way. I just have a different opinion, is what I see.
So it's a war of ideologies, principles, politics, because the Christian worldview is diametrically opposed to the atheistic worldview. It is. I mean, you might have some things that might overlap, a few things here. Like, you can still be a conservative. I mean, I've seen atheists be conservatives.
Yeah.
But majority of everything else, we are at war with, and atheists just do not like with the things that Christianity proposes, especially things on like homosexuality. We
That
can just
is
go
true,
down
yeah.
the line.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, I don't mind people believing whatever they want. That's fine. Whatever people want to believe is fine with me. I guess it's when that belief then impacts on somebody else who doesn't believe the same thing. I think that's where I have problems.
Yep, definitely.
So, I mean, you can believe whatever you want. It's just if you're then going out and making somebody miserable or taking actions to sort of make their life hell, pardon the pun, that's where I have a problem.
Right. I mean, I think the Bible calls Christians to if it's all possible, you be at peace with all people. I think that's the general principle that we're trying
Right.
to live by. But you might have idiots out there like the Westboro Baptist Church, they like to stir things up, So
Yeah.
I agree with you on that, actually, I do.
Yeah, and see,
Okay.
Praise, I don't think we'd be that different in what we think is sort of good and bad. I don't think we'd be huge. There might be some topics we disagree on vehemently. I get that, but sort of treating people nicely and trying to understand them and try to accept them and forgive them for what they do. I don't think we're that far off. So I'm wondering why you see my existence, or me saying what I think and what I believe, is an attack on you. And sorry, I'll just explain, because it doesn't seem like you feel the same about... Do you feel the same about other religions? I shouldn't assume.
Absolutely,
Okay.
I do. With Islam, I think they are a definite enemy threat spiritually to the benefit of humanity, I would even say. Maybe the Buddhists and stuff, but I think that they would even, correlate with a lot of our beliefs. I think we all overlap in a lot of different things, and
Sure.
some of the peaceful religions, I think they overlap with ours, but with Islam, oh yeah.
Hey,
Yeah.
praise though. I gotta tell you that. What about the fact is that they aren't
Hindus?
forcing to teach everybody's children Islam in school. They're not forcing
Yeah.
everybody to teach Buddhism in school and all these religions. They're forcing everybody to believe in this evolution fantasy pseudoscience, and then they end up not even knowing the basics of any science, and it actually destroys their minds.
Okay.
So that's what they're teaching to the
So
kids
wait-
in school. Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
So wait, so you're meaning to tell me, like that, because evolution has all this evidence to back up for it, like that.
Here we go again.
Their minds. How? Okay.
Eric, there's no evidence, Eric. We've been asking for years. You don't have any evidence. There isn't. Can you just point out a textbook? Can you point out a textbook or anything? It's just an emotional religious belief, man. That's all it is.
Well, you know that we don't believe that, right? We don't believe that
It's just going along with what they told you. That's all it is. Just like any religion, just like David Koresh or what's that guy's name? The Kool-Aid guy. I mean, that's just they're going along with it. That's all it is.
Kool-Aid.
Okay. So pretty much, you're trying to
Jim
make it out
Jones,
to be an appeal
Jim
to
Jones.
authority fallacy. You're trying to make it out to be that, oh well, all these things that the science teachers are telling you is true simply because that they say so.
They
That's
admit it,
not
Eric.
how it
It's not my
works.
claim. It's theirs, though. They admit it. You ever
Well,
heard
they
of Charles
don't,
Lyell?
no.
I mean, yeah, they
But
admit
no,
it.
but that's what you said. I mean, you just said that.
Right. Can you
that
name anybody?
People believe, what they said to me because they said so. That's not how it works.
How does it work?
Like,
I had a question.
teaching you because of, they're teaching you these things. Like, say, an example, the Earth is round. Because of the evidence. It's not because that. Oh, it's because that I say so. It's not an appeal to authority fallacy.
I know
wanted
we're
to say
talking right,
something
but it
towards
is an
Eric.
authority, right? That's that. You went to school, right? Did you go to college, Eric?
Yeah.
Right, and you probably trusted your professors, right, the entire time, your teachers.
Because they're experts.
Well,
Right.
it's-
Did they? That's my point, right? The experts that you did you ever
But
question them
that's
about
not
their
an appeal
evidence?
to
Did you have any long
authority fallacy.
conversations
Yeah.
with them, Eric? I'm just curious. That's all.
Okay, so because of that, I don't think you understand what an appeal to authority fallacy is. An appeal to authority fallacy, an example would be, say, if I have a question about, say, for example, geology, rather than consulting a geologist, I am then going to consult a dentist about it. That's an appeal to authority fallacy. And, it would be just like saying that how back when you were in school, if you had a question about math, obviously you're going to ask your math teacher about it. It's because your math teacher knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, so when
Well, they wound you up really well, Eric. You're saying all the right things just to avoid
when
reality.
you go to
Good job, I
university,
guess.
Is
when
my
you
mic
go
working?
to just 1 second.
Oh man, you're
Yo-Yo.
loud now,
No.
Yo-Yo.
Yeah, you're
go
too
for it.
loud. But just
I'm
1
on-
second.
Yeah,
Just
there's
1
something
second.
that I
mate.
wanted
Just
to-
1 second.
There's just one thing I wanted to say. I find it interesting, right? Because you guys keep on talking about evidence. Every time I've always read these evolution books or whenever I was taught about it, they would always look at a piece of evidence or data, whatever animals you want to talk about. It's always interesting how they would always say, to sum it up, and we believe that because of this, there could have been, these things could have evolved from this. They'll always say, we believe. It's not to say it's an actual fact. They'll never say the fact is or the truth is they evolved from this. They'll always say we believe that this species might have come from this species. In other words, there's now sort of like a clear distinction between what you know and what you think might have happened.
Yeah,
but you don't know if it's true.
That's because
so you
science
can't really
is
say it's
tentative.
facts.
Yeah, well,
yeah, but you can't call that now fact or
facts
truth.
is
It's more of
something
like an
different.
assumption.
Yeah, so science deals with the process of finding out things, and they make models. They don't generally go in. Facts are the things that you sort of observe that everybody agrees on. So it's a fact
that's what I'm
that
saying.
yeah, if I could just finish, it's a fact that an apple drops kind of thing. What they do is they make testable predictions and then model it into they make hypothesis and they model that into a theory to describe it. So it's there to make models about our reality. It's not there to provide some overarching message. But what I want to sort of talk about is when you go to university, it's not just you listen to the lecturer, they tell you what to believe, and then you go and believe it. That's not how it works. What you do is you get given a sort of education in how to go back, reference papers, find experiments, apply those experiments, do replication studies, put into practice the methodology for finding the results that they found in that scientific paper. It isn't just listening to some guy and going, oh, well, that must be true. That is not what happens at all.
Yep.
Thank
you
guys
so much.
I have a question towards. I have a question towards
Thank
that.
you, Mark.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
God created everything.
Wait, I have a question towards that.
Okay, but the whole claim about God creating everything, you know, if we
Wait,
don't
I had a
have
question
evidence
towards what
for
Margaret
that,
just said.
then it means nothing.
Okay, I had a question towards what Margaret said. But when you say you go to university, right, and you're taught, let's say, methodology and all these things, and you apply them exactly the same way that they show you, isn't that sort of like you're just going to arrive at the same answer if you follow their methodology or whatever they teach you?
No.
I mean,
no.
you'd have
But
to
that's how
almost
science
change
works,
some.
though. You know, you have to repeat it.
Yeah.
You know, if it's repeatable, and then say for example, like if person one
But-
does a test, person two
Yeah, but here's a problem
does
with
the
this,
same
though.
test, gets the same result,
So,
then that's science.
yeah, Eric,
But
I'll
here's
just
the
address
problem
it
is-
because I was asked a question. Yo, I'm so sorry, mate. Could you turn your mic just down a smidge? It is pretty loud. I do apologise, mate. It's just
Fine.
It's pretty
tiny
loud.
bit
Oh,
loud.
hold on, let
Yeah,
me-
I know. I think you overshot there when you were quiet. I'm so sorry, mate. But
Is
what-
it better now?
That's perfect. So when you learn the experiments, yes, some of them may be experiments where we know the answer already. It's been the experiments done every single time in class, kind of thing. So you're looking for scientific rigor, you're looking for robustness, you're looking for replicability. There's a few criteria you're looking for to say, hey, this experiment is as unbiased as possible, kind of thing. And some of them we know the answer already and we replicate them. Some of them aren't. And some students find things of, oh, here's a better way to do it. I mean, my field is a bit different. I'm into network engineering. So some person might find a search algorithm that works way better than what we think the best search algorithm is. The students are not taught to just follow whatever the teacher says. They're encouraged to challenge it, come up with something new, question a long-held scientific truth or a scientific theory and see if you can find anything wrong with it. And that's why it's a science and not a religion.
You
Yep.
can't create your own
In
material.
terms
You
of-
have to
in
use
terms
the
I'm
of
sorry, I
material
can't hear anybody.
that's provided from this world. You can't create your own earth. You can't create anything. You can't create even
But,
molecules. You can't create with your science. You're only borrowing what's been already created here by God,
Okay.
and
Well,
you're observing
But
how
I
it's reacting to different experiments. But you, as a scientist,
Okay.
can't create any of it.
If there's evidence for God,
And when you say it doesn't matter, it does matter, because as soon as you stop consuming what God created on this planet, that makes everything grow, even the dirt in the ground that He created, you can't even replicate the dirt that makes stuff grow. You understand?
well,
That's why there's.
Anyway,
I mean,
That's
we
why
can
if you don't
create
eat
fertilizer.
things that
I'm
God
sure.
created, you will be dead.
Okay, so if you're talking about how I can't
I-
create a world, as far as we knew, the world formed through accretion disk, and that's what science says. If you're going back to how the universe was sort of, came about, I don't know the answer to that. Right? So I'm not saying, hey, it definitely wasn't God, because I know
That's
it
right, you
wasn't
can't
God.
recreate
What I'm
anything.
saying
You
is
can
that
only-
I
you can
don't know
only
the
take
answer to
material
that,
that's
but I
already
see
here
no
and
reason
then
to
do
think it
something
was a
with it.
God.
As far as creation goes, you can't do nothing.
Well, I mean, I can do-
Mark, Reid, I just had one thing to say, but in terms of now evolution, but don't you think it's a little bit in terms of your methodologies, the thing that you're trying to prove, it's more of like you're trying to explain how history came about by looking at how animals relate to one another. Because if you look at it really in sort of like a bigger picture in a sense, because you're trying to sort of like answer a piece of, you're trying to find a piece of answer a piece of history, if that makes sense, like trying to find the puzzle to a piece of history, and the methodology just, you're looking at current data and you're trying to look at the linkages between certain species and blah blah blah, and so since they have
Right.
so much similarity, the history must have happened like this. But similarities could have many outcomes. It doesn't necessarily mean that's what happened in history. Like what I said before, when you're talking about this virus, it's almost like you can find that most building blocks in human beings are found in most living beings. So to say because a dog was like this, and you can see that it has similar things to this, it must have evolved to this, it doesn't really answer anything. They could have just existed both at the same time at the beginning.
Well, that's not what it suggests, and I'm not sure what you meant by how history came about, so I'll just sort of clarify just to be exact, and I'm sorry if I'm being pedantic.
I was just saying,
that
I feel like that's the point of evolution.
Well, no,
sort
it's
of
to explain the genetic or the biological diversity. It's just to explain that diversity between animals. Now,
that's my point.
The problem
what's
is,
the end goal
yeah, if you
of
could just let me
evolution?
finish, Yo-Yo, I appreciate that. Just let me finish. The problem is that we've got multiple lines of evidence that are pointing at the same result. So even before we knew about DNA, was Darwin, and he came up with a hypothesis about sort of natural selection. And the problem is that every time we find new pieces of evidence, it lines up with what we expect if the evolutionary model is true. And that keeps happening.
Darwin was a Freemason, and what we do find is all these fossils actually came from a flood about 4,400 years ago. And yeah, man, just about every fossil, you know, like a chicken can die today. The chicken can die today on the street. It's not gonna become fossilized.
No, it takes a long time. Yeah.
Animals die on the street all the time. They don't become fossilized. To be fossilized, you need to be pressurized, buried. That's where all the fossils came from. Everything used to be bigger before the flood. Your concept of dinosaurs, these big birds or big lizards, were petrified during the flood while they were buried and pressurized, and that's what we see today. You guys been brainwashed by I don't know, YouTube or something, or your television and your movies.
Perfect rocks do not work on a global flood.
Say that again?
Okay, so if there was a global flood, if there truly was, one of the things that we would expect to see, you know, throughout the entire world, like this great embedding, Amanel, you know, do we see that at some parts of the earth?
What did you say? Amanel, what?
Yeah.
Graded bedding. So pretty much graded bedding, like
Right.
it's like all these rocks, you know, jumbled up together in a scrambled like way. We don't see that throughout the entire world.
We
You still don't
What?
see the
global
ocean.
flood.
What?
Flood hasn't
If
even
there
been
was a global
completely yet.
flood, we would expect all these rock layers, you know,
It's called the Cretaceous layer. The Cretaceous layer is found all over existence.
No, it's not. No,
Oh,
it's not.
another-
I'm so
another
sorry. Well,
thing
that,
with
it wouldn't
the
matter. Even if it did, you
They're
would just change your
actually-
mind, and you would just like that, you would hand wave it and run away from it. It's a religious. You're showing your emotion to everybody. Everybody can tell that it's just a religious panic
How do
attack.
you-
That's
how do
all.
you-
Correct
How do you guys explain those trees?
Not a religion.
Hey, Eric, hold on.
No
How do you guys explain those trees that cut through multiple fossil layers? They call them
Oh, the
polystrata
polystrate
fossils.
trees. Yeah. So
How do you explain
I
those?
actually made a video about that on my second channel.
Yeah, how do you explain
Oh, you
that?
saw a video? Yeah,
Two
that's nice.
seconds. How do you explain it?
Yeah.
Explain it now. Explain
Okay.
that.
Somebody
How do you
else hand
explain
waved it.
a
Eager,
tree
Iger.
petrified through
Now,
multiple fossil
are there
layers?
some rocks that are buried rapidly? Yes, but however, though, it doesn't automatically mean that every rock is deposited slowly, because that there also are chalk rocks, and and chalk is not deposited rapidly, and so just by saying that one rock is deposited rapidly, therefore all rocks are deposited rapidly, it's just like saying, oh well, because this one person died a quick death, therefore every person out there must die a quick death. It's an assumed to conclusion fallacy.
if you were really a Christian once upon a time, which I doubt, you will know that there's a falling away, and that's what you're a part of right now. You're falling away, and you're becoming this atheist. And it's sad,
Okay,
because
well,
I
Amen.
used to believe
That's
in the
right.
Big Bang
I
and
agree.
evolution. Yeah, I used to believe in the Big Bang and evolution till about 4 years ago, and I just started believing in young Earth creation. God made everything in 6 days, just like the Bible says. And you're going the opposite direction. I don't understand that, bro. That doesn't make any
well,
logical
I don't
sense
think
to
there's
me.
the
anything
reason
wrong
why
with
I'm
If you were
going
that.
the
really a
opposite
young Earth
direction
Hey,
creationist,
Christianity is because there's no evidence
Iger, is there like a
saying
guy
that I
named
was a
like
fake
Cherry?
Christian. That's a
Like
no two
Cherry?
shots
Sparrow's
for
trying to
y'all.
talk. Hold on.
Yeah, I think Sparrow.
Is there a guy named Cherry R? I think Eicher or something like that. You guys know?
yeah, I've been following him for about a month already. I like his work. Yeah,
About
yeah,
I was watching that about the trees. I just wanted to ask you if you know.
yeah. I've been watching
Okay,
a
I
lot.
actually have. Sorry,
Check
go ahead,
this out,
Iger.
guys. Because even according to the atheists here, I could pull up a picture of a giant petrified mushroom, and they're gonna admit that it was a giant petrified mushroom, 5 times bigger than the normal person, maybe up to 10 times bigger than a normal person. But then we got things like Devil's Tower, where they got this perfect hexagonal shapes, and we see these structures all over the world. They call them I forget what they call them,
But they're young Earth. But they're young in the young Earth, right?
Do you guys believe
Yeah,
in
well,
dinosaurs?
it would be like everything used to be bigger.
I'm leaning towards
Even
young Earth. I don't want nobody
you
to even
understand
try
they
to change
existed
their mind.
or
I
not.
can't hear Sparrow.
Yes, they do. They do. So if there were still dinosaurs alive today, you would change your
Birds?
mind and say, "I was just kidding."
Well,
Yeah, as
No,
I said earlier,
yeah,
birds are
birds are birds. Yes, most
okay.
4-year-olds
No, I
know
mean
the difference between a
sort of
bird and a
ancient
very large reptile creature. There's a big difference. Yeah,
Well,
you
well,
fell for
these
that hoax
dinosaurs
too.
aren't really reptiles, but
It's
I
not a
mean
hoax.
like
That's the thing, is that the
Interesting, though.
evolution religion, praise I am, it makes them turn insane so that words don't have
I
meaning
don't know
anymore.
when
Now
you are
a
gonna
chicken
stop
can
that
be a
error.
dinosaur. Obviously, that is something that's a new age satanic term.
Yeah.
It's called an abomination.
I'm not
It's
trying
really
to trigger
disgusting.
you, XI. I'm referring
Okay,
to, Stegosaurus
saying
and
that I was a fake
Triceratops,
Christian.
dinosaurs, Brontosaurus and stuff like that. Do you believe
Yes,
in
there's
dinosaurs?
ancient carvings with
Okay.
Stegosauruses on
No,
their
Okay.
walls just a
okay.
couple thousand years
So
ago.
I have
Yeah,
a
I know.
question for
It's
you then.
amazing. These animals
That
are
carving right
recanted
there,
and are talked about through all history. You ever
that's
hear about the Chinese
just a
dragon
Yeah.
legends,
So
or
I've
the
got a-
Japanese
behind
dragon
it.
legends,
Yeah,
or the
I've got a
European
question for
dragon
you then.
legends? Yeah, every single
That's
culture
true.
Too big
Yeah.
to
in
be a
history has all
Stegosaurus.
these ancient dragon stories. Wow, and they
Okay,
describe them
dragon legend.
identical to
That's
dinosaurs.
interesting.
My
Cool stories,
goodness,
yeah.
yeah,
There's
that
a
was
dragon
easy.
legend
Well,
I like called.
I mean, I don't think they
There's
were
a dragon
dinosaurs,
I
but...
called Humbamba.
Uh huh.
That said they have the
Sure
supernatural
thing, man.
ability to
So,
change his fate.
why
Yes,
can't
if we had
why
one alive
can't
today,
we?
yes.
Why
And if we
can't
show you
we?
one living today,
Clearly,
would you
Why
be
can't we
satisfied?
get a DNA sample from a dinosaur?
And if we show you a living dinosaur today, what would
With
your
our
next
bird.
Yeah.
excuse
Why
be?
can't we
No,
get a
living
DNA sample
actual
from a
We
dinosaur?
wouldn't
Why
have
can't you
it
get a
can't even,
DNA
bro.
sample?
You're so scared to death of reality. I can't even
No,
finish
I'm
my
not.
questions.
I'm
No,
not
I'm talking.
scared of
You ask
reality.
me.
He's
Listen,
talking
this
to
is
me, I
listen.
I'm
think.
Can you
following what the
please
evidence
relax?
speaks. That's
You're
why
just.
I'm
I
making
cannot
this
say
now.
anything. Listen, a dinosaur means terrible or great lizard.
Uh-huh.
They have sharp teeth, and sometimes they have scales, and they're big green. They used to show me in coloring books when I was a
But
kid.
that's a very
Yeah, so
Okay, you're
why
not
can't we
sick.
get a
Stop the
DNA
panic
sample
attack,
from
bro.
them?
I know you're having a panic attack. You got to relax.
I'm not having a panic
Yes,
attack,
yeah,
man.
yes. Everybody can hear right now that you're happy. Bro,
It's
you
okay,
just gotta
Eric,
let somebody
Eric,
else
just-
speak
just-
for a second. Can I
let's-
just finish a sentence,
Just one
bro?
second, Eric. Let's
Can you just
reset.
let me say
Let's
yes?
reset.
You just keep
okay,
keep going.
just-
You're just so religious and so zealotry about this. You can't stop. Here's the point. Yes, dinosaurs are the very large creatures
Mhm.
that are reptiles that supposedly already died off. That's the point. Dinosaurs are not birds. That's the point. That's
They are.
something else. Those are called birds. They're very
Yeah.
different. They're completely different. Birds
No,
only
they're
make
not.
birds.
Not really.
Yes, I know. Listen, that's the point.
Well,
Dinosaurs
Eric,
are not birds.
let him
That's the
finish.
point.
Eric,
No,
let
that's
him
the point.
finish.
You don't even know what words mean, bro. Bro, you don't even have the ability to understand basic kindergarten level terminology. That's what the evolution religion does to you. Because you saw it on TV, now you think two polar
We got
opposite
corrected you
different
so many
animals
times.
are the exact same thing. What you're doing here is you're displaying your emotions about you need the necessary antecedent of the psychotic evolution religion to justify your new lifestyle. That's all it is. This has nothing to do with science. You desperately need an excuse to live the lifestyle you're leading right now, and evolution is your only way out.
At all.
It's your only way out, bro. That's what you're displaying. You think dinosaurs are birds. We say dinosaurs died out millions of years ago,
Right.
and then in your next breath they go, oh, they're birds. They're still alive. So you don't even have a claim, bro.
Guys,
It's a
could we just have a
monster. There's no claim
reset,
here.
take a breath,
So praise
and
I
then
am. What I'm
talk one
pointing
at a
out though
time?
is there's no claim to this. They'll say dinosaurs died out, and then their next breath they're saying, oh, they're actually still alive. It's a
Yeah, they're
psychotic religion.
birds.
Bro. You
That's
can't
right.
make this up. Bro, it is so insane,
Other
praise.
birds.
Dude, listen, if you just let the evolutionists talk, it's the greatest destruction of a religion you could ever listen to, bro. It's so insane.
I
bro.
agree.
Unbelievable.
I agree.
You had me at the same
It's peer reviewed. It's peer reviewed. It's peer reviewed.
Well, I don't think anyone can talk at the moment. It's sort of.
Oh my goodness, somebody's mom peer reviewed it. Wow, bro. And you fell for it.
because of the evidence, not because
They
someone
told
said
me
so.
in college. That's what they told me. And
Yes.
NASA says it. NASA
That's
says
right.
it. He told me in college. It's peer reviewed. The Royal Society said it back in the 1800s when the Royal Society was founded. Yeah. Oh, the 1500s.
No,
sorry,
but bro,
the
listen.
Society.
That's the thing. But if we still have a living dinosaur, they're gonna an actual real one. If we had if we found a 17-foot tall
There's no
Tyrannosaurus
conspiracies.
in the jungle, I'm just saying, if we
Evil
found one
people,
in the
they're
jungle, they would change their mind anyway. There is no listen. Praise I am. Think of it this way: you go to play soccer with somebody, and you have a goal on your side, and you go to the other end of the field. There's no goal there. There's no goal on the other side of the field. That's what there's nothing you can do can change their mind. Nothing you can show them. There's no evidence. No matter what, they will say, "Oh, I'm just kidding."
I think
Like,
we'll cross
here in
that
Arizona,
bridge when we find the dinosaur.
They
I
found
think we'll
animals
cross that
coming
bridge.
out of the desert. And here in Arizona, when it
There's
had a
whales
large
on top of
monsoon.
mountains. How do whales get on top of mountains? I mean, good
There you
God,
go.
people.
That's evolution.
Tectonic
Because they
drift,
evolved
yeah.
to go up.
They
yeah,
crawled up
everything's
the
evolution, no
mountain.
matter
Oh,
what.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah.
And then if it stays this, and then if we
Myth is
stays the
not a
same for
science.
400 million years, it's also
Mythical
evolution. Yeah.
creature.
So the question I had was, why
That's
can't
what
we get a DNA sample from dinosaurs? I'm not sure why you
Right
just
before
sort of
that,
didn't
they got
answer that at all.
on God
Can I get
and
an answer to
see
that, or is it just sort of this sort of yelling that?
Yeah, see, there's still no claim. You see what nobody knows what he just said because there's no claim. Go ahead, Praise.
Why can't we
Yeah,
get a
there's
DNA
actually-
sample from dinosaurs?
Okay, there's two debate propositions I have for Mark. One is SFT on herbs. Are you willing to take SFT on with that,
Sure.
Mark? And then me with evolution as well.
Yeah, sure. I'm happy to. That would be fantastic. I
When would
really
be an
am.
early? When's the best day? Like the earliest day, because the earlier the better.
Let's see.
What's suitable for you? Yeah.
I think I can probably give me a sec. I just grabbed my calendar here.
Oh yeah, take your time.
Okay, well, anyways,
got-
sorry to interrupt, but it is starting to get late. I'm starting to get tired now. I think I'm gonna go to bed. And so praise. You said you were gonna give me the link to that citation on Pistis.
Yeah.
Could I maybe get like your email address so I can
Yes, I was about to ask you for that. So it's praise Jesus the Christ at gmail.com.
Let me write that down really quick. Hold up. Is
Yeah.
that all in lowercase or what?
It don't matter. It doesn't matter.
Okay, so what is it again?
Praise Jesus the Christ at gmail.com.
Praise Jesus the Christ. At Gmail?
Yeah.
Okay, gmail.com. Okay, I would love to see your citation on that. And, as far as all of the thing goes, I disagree with everything you said. I disagree with the XO. I think Mark said everything spot on. But anyways, thank you all for watching.
Yeah, you took it well. Thanks for giving me all your
Thank you.
emotion, Eric. I appreciate it.
That's it.
Well,
And,
thanks for coming on, though, Eric. I hope.
Yes.
Yeah,
I
good to
pray
meet
for
you,
you,
Eric.
brother. You come back. We love you, man. God loves you more than you even understand. He even has the hairs on your head, even though you shaved your head. But he still even knows the arrangement of your hair. So I just want to let you know that.
But yeah, just having my crisis of faith, it's been a lot to deal with, and people can say it was because of evolution all they want, but no.
Okay, real quick then. I got one
I
more
need
thing,
to
Eric,
say
before
hi
you
to
leave.
someone. Dwayne. Hello.
Oh, Sparrow, real quick,
SFT.
Sparrow, he's gonna
I
leave.
seriously have-
Sparrow, I got before he leaves, Eric, don't leave yet. Can I just ask you, if you found out that evolution was false, would you still stay an anti-Christian?
Okay. Christianity does not depend on whether or not evolution is true or not.
Is it possible?
Okay,
You can't answer the question. Okay, you can't answer it. That's fine. That's what I thought.
Let me finish, please. Okay. Even if you were to prove evolution wrong, I don't think that would prove a young Earth whatsoever.
Didn't say it did. Had nothing to do with that. I never mentioned young Earth, so something is now happening inside you again where you're coming up with words that I'm not talking about. I asked if you would believe in Jesus Christ. Thanks.
Okay, well, like I said,
yeah, that's the hard question right there. That's the real question. Yeah, think long and hard about that one, Eric, and then come back with the real answer when you come back. Thanks.
Okay, so even if you were to prove evolution wrong, it wouldn't prove God. Wouldn't prove
no, it wouldn't. But yep, it's not going to prove anything to you. Yep, you don't have a claim.
No, I never said that.
There's no claim, Eric.
All that I'm saying is like that there is no correlation, like with evolution being true or not, like with Christianity. That's a complete non sequitur.
Right. There's no claim. There's no claim. Thanks.
We're gonna have to
Eric too before he leaves.
I have to get going now. You all have a nice day.
See you, Eric.
You too. See you, man.
And then there was one.
I got a question for Mark.
Poor guy. My goodness. You and poor Mark too. Unbelievable.
Why?
Since Sparrow brought it up, I kind of want to hear Mark.
I don't feel poor. I feel okay. That's cool.
So yeah. Can I share my screen real quick? I just want to show a picture real quick, and I want to see what Mark Reid thinks about these giant petrified mushrooms. Can one of you guys allow me to share my screen real quick? So yeah, according to to be bigger before the flood, right? So we got these giant petrified mushrooms, right?
Really?
Yeah. Check it out. I just it's not even like a picture I got saved. I literally just looked it up on my search engine, and I just put giant petrified mushrooms, and it says here that these were giant petrified mushrooms, for the dinosaurs to eat or whatever. So we got these giant petrified mushrooms that even the atheists or whatever peer-reviewed and whatever people, they'll say these are giant petrified mushrooms from the Jurassic era or whatever. And in our worldview is before the flood, right? Mm-hmm. Y'all's Jurassic eras are pre-flood era. So then we got these giant petrified trees too, like the Devil Towers. I'm only bringing this up because Sparrow kind of was kind of bringing it up, right? So
wow, that's pretty interesting.
Like I don't know what the relevance is.
Do you have one of the tree things that I've seen?
Yeah. You can just look at Devil's Tower, and it's America's first national monument, and it's got this perfect hexagonal shapes that are all over the world. We had these giant mesas, basically. According to Enoch, God ordains the angels to cut down the trees. That way nobody can climb on top of them because they were so big, right?
Yeah, so I've got to be honest with you. A lot of those look like rocks.
You can't even let them talk. Mark, you can't even let him talk.
Well, I mean, he did ask me a question of what I thought of it.
Yeah. All right, I'll close up.
My goodness.
I
wanted to hear Iger finish it.
If these are the giant petrified mushrooms, what happened to the trees? Were there huge trees? How big? Because usually mushrooms grow at the bottom of the trees. How big do you think these trees used to be?
So apparently they're called prototaxites. They're an extant group of fungal fossils. Apparently they can be a diameter of 1 meter and a height reaching up to 8.8 meters, which that is significantly larger, which is probably a rock that you're looking at. A rock that has been eroded around due to wind, eroded around the bottom, and you think it looks like a mushroom. But there are giant petrified mushrooms. There are. But they top out at 8.8 meters.
That these were the mushrooms before and this was secular sources. It wasn't like a young Earth creationist.
Yeah, I think Eric had one of those mushrooms before he came in here. I gotta be honest with you.
This is too much, man. I tell you, that's pretty.
You're funny, Praise.
And Mark is having the side effects because they're connected spiritually. You know how that is with relationships, and he's having the side effects already. So this is not looking good. It's not.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about. This looks ridiculous to me, but whatever. Could you have a paper on them? Maybe you could send me like a peer-reviewed paper talking about them.
No, I don't believe in peer review. I think.
Yeah, so I don't usually just look up photos off the internet. Just go, well, this looks like this, so I'm gonna believe it. I think I need more than sort of a picture and somebody claiming it is something in order to believe something from my position.
Because these evil leaders, they're definitely planning something, bro.
Conspiracy theory again? Should I go get my tinfoil hat again? Is that what we're doing?
You need like 5 conspiracy hats.
I probably do. I probably do.
You're like lagging, Mark.
So the question that I had, is if dinosaurs were around so recently, why can't we get a DNA sample of dinosaurs? Was my question. Because we can of other animals, like almost all other animals. We're currently classifying and recording their DNA codes systematically through animals. And so if dinosaurs were around, 4,000 years ago or 6,000 years ago, why can't we get a DNA sample?
Bro, you guys say they're birds now. They used to be big lizards, now they're birds.
That's not an answer to the question.
It's the same DNA. Everything just used to be bigger. So whether it was a big alligator or some other lizard that went extinct, we got these Draco lizards. We got all types of birds that are still alive today that in your worldview, they will be considered dinosaurs. So it's the same animal. It's just not as big anymore. Everything used to be bigger. Now it's just smaller. So you don't call them dinosaurs anymore. You just call them, a Draco lizard or a Komodo dragon or something like that. But it's the same animal that used to be back then.
No, because reptiles are cold-blooded, whereas like something like a brontosaurus with that massive long neck, you need a 4-chambered, warm-blooded heart to push blood up that high. That's why you don't have any reptiles with elongated necks.
Have you seen one?
Have I seen one?
Mm-hmm. Bones.
Well, we know how cold-blooded animals work.
Well, I mean, you're saying you want something on this, picture.
Yeah.
Do you have something to prove yours?
Yeah, sure. I'll look up a citation. No problem. Just give me 1 second.
Oh, Mark, did you come to a day with SFT and me possibly as well? Like I think you got.
Yeah.
You emailed.
I have already emailed you, and I've emailed Amy, so we can go on there for our debate.
Okay.
So that was a while ago, I think. I'm not sure when I sent that, but it was a while ago that I sent it to you.
Yep.
Because I think I was on somewhere else, and you said to send it through, so I did so.
Yep.
Hey, I'm actually gonna take off too, man. But yeah. God bless y'all. Jesus loves you, Mark. Jesus loves you too, bro.
Okay.
I know he's real, bro. I don't know why you keep denying him, but anyways, man, y'all have a good night.
Why would I know he's real? I don't get that. Why would you? So you think I'm lying? Is that what you're sort of saying? You think that I'm lying that I don't?
Pretty much. But it's all right, bro. I gotta go. So have a good night over there across the pond, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Take care, Ikes. Later.
All right. Peace.
Good night, Iger.
Good night.
Morning.
Yeah.
I don't know. Good night, morning. Everybody's from different time zones.
You can.
Speaking of which, Bob's in the house.
With the 5 senses, you need the 6th sense to experience spirituality, and you're looking into everything with the 5 senses of your human self.
Yeah, what other senses am I supposed to use?
Well, you need to use tools, man. That's what we're good for on this planet. That's what makes us the dominant species, because we have tools. Now, if you created a tool as a scientist to measure the spirituality and to show the spirit to people, then maybe you'll be a believer.
Okay, so what tool would I be using, and how can I tell if that tool is reliable?
There's prayer.
But don't a lot of people pray and they don't believe in the same God as you?
Well, you don't have to believe in anything. Just start using the tool.
Oh, I'm just saying that it seems like some people pray and get the God of Christianity, and some people pray and they get, say, the God of Islam or Buddha, or they get something altogether.
I gave you a tool in this hangout today. It's called fasting. Fast for 40 days and see if you believe in spirituality, but you refuse to do it because you're a weak man.
Well, I mean, that's pretty much an ad hominem. Yeah, I don't think not eating for 40 days is very good for my well-being. I don't think that's the case. I know that you might believe that, but I don't believe it.
I don't think you can do 3 weeks. You don't have the willpower.
So you've sealed yourself in a box for 40 days not eaten, is that right?
No, just to walk around. You don't have to sit in the box. Just make yourself do it.
Yeah, I don't...
Where's your will?
I don't think that's very...
Do an experiment. See how long you can go.
Yeah, I don't think starving myself is a very good experiment. It seems counterproductive to me.
Because it clears your mind of all the clutter and all the junk. It clears your body of all the unnecessary things. Your organs regenerate.
They regenerate.
Much clearer, and you will see and feel different.
Have you got any evidence of organs regenerating?
You will be at a higher state of understanding.
Wow, okay, so you starve yourself for 40 days and your organs regenerate. Have I got that correct?
You shut down your desire, you shut down your bodily processes which constantly digest other matter, and you basically refuse your flesh completely. And that opens up your sixth sense. So I gave you the tool, but you're too ignorant to use it as a scientist. You're not a scientist.
Well, I mean, if
you're
you
just a
think
communist.
it works.
That's who you are. You're a fucking communist.
Well, I'm not. I'm a pretty moderate, actually. I don't think communism works at all. I think it's a terrible system because of the way that it sort of promotes totalitarianism. So no, I think you're 100% wrong. I'm not going to starve myself for 40 days because I have good evidence that that's really bad for your body. I don't know why that would be required to see the truth, starving yourself sort of almost to death. Has anyone else starved themselves and got any insight from this? Anybody?
No, I haven't done. Well, I've fasted for a few days, I think, one time, but
yeah, that's fair enough. Yeah. So nobody else is fasting for 40 days, like over a month, eating nothing.
No, but having COVID, I haven't been able to. I wasn't able to eat for like 4 or 5 days.
Oh, that sucks. I got hit hard by COVID as well. I totally empathize. That sucks. I got knocked on my ass, to be honest with you. It was terrible.
Your body's intelligent enough to repair itself. It's intelligent enough to heal its wounds. You're not intelligent.
I don't think intelligence has...
your thought process cannot heal you.
Yeah, I don't think my intelligence has anything to do with my body healing myself.
Tell yourselves to heal themselves, but your body does. So why don't you deprive yourself from food for at least 3 weeks?
Because I think it'd be very bad for me.
I've already answered this. You can drink plenty of fluid. You can drink as much water as your body.
I'm going to go ahead and say no.
I'll even go a little further.
And if you want to prove something...
You've never done it,
if you want to prove something, go ahead and do it yourself. I'll decline. Thank you.
Your eyes will open, okay?
My organs will regenerate. Yes, I heard you.
You will be dead. And without God's creation that He created for us to support our life here, you will realize that your science is not.
Oh. Okay. But, go regenerate your organs by all means, but I think you should probably, provide yourself with sustenance in order to be healthy.
That's how people realize there's God, because there's points in life where people didn't eat for a long period of time because there was starvation.
Yeah,
and that's how people came to spirituality, because they knew there's something more to this than just this flesh body, okay? Which you are definitely a slave to your flesh. You're a slave to your flesh. And you sit there looking for excuses and science and shit like that because you don't see spirituality, because you only feel with 5 senses you fucking want.
Oh, thanks for that. So yeah, either that or you starved yourself and sort
Is that guy
of
for real?
nutrients didn't hit
President?
your brain, and you stopped thinking rationally. Maybe
I don't know. I think that's Yuri. I'm not sure. I think Yuri's confused right now, spiritually confused.
I'm not confused
I
at
know.
all.
I think you want me to find the
That's
Bible
a
verse
tool
where
you
it
should
says
try
we
to
can't
use.
give him a pedestal, or should we skip it? I think it says don't Godspeed him. That's what it says. Don't Godspeed this guy. It says.
Maybe he can get out of the box he's fasting in, and he can use that as a soapbox too.
You guys can, you can abuse anything, right? If you fast too much, it might be bad.
Yeah.
Thanks.
You can drink too much water too.
Jesus
it's insane.
fasted for
Anything.
40
I
days,
agree.
and he spoke with the devil.
That's right. Very good. You got it. I can't argue with you there, man. Amen.
All right, well, I'm going to decline to fast. But, guys, it was real. It was really fun. I really enjoyed myself. Thank you for having me on. I'd love to talk to you more and find out why you think that I'm lying, or sort of, pretending not to believe, or when I do, or this kind of claim.
Is that what said? I thought everybody trusted that you were being honest, that you certainly agree with what your belief is. I do think you're being honest about that, Mark.
Yeah, oh, thank you. I really appreciate that, XO. I really do. I am being honest. If people think I'm suppressing, all I can say is no, I'm not. And that
you're not a wolf. What do they think? You're a wolf in sheep's clothing for atheists? Is that a thing? Like, what's going on here? I mean, who's claiming that?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, good to talk to you guys. It really was. And
all right, Mark. I'll be nicer to you next time, Mark. Thanks for being a good sport.
Hey, that's okay. I when you have these discussions, sometimes
Don't take me, for that.
Mark, I'd rather have you stay here and let go if that was possible. A prisoner exchange, maybe. I'd do a prisoner exchange.
Look, I'm not sure our camp wants him either. I'll be honest with you, brutally. I'm sorry. I had to take that shot, but it was. It was good listening to you tell me, sort of to go kill myself. That was interesting. But kudos, guys. Do have a good night. Hey.
Take care, Mark. It was a pleasure having you, man. Take care.
See ya.